What's up, everybody? Crypto Picasso here. Quick little Bitcoin and market review update on Saturday morning, the 21st of October. So let's start with Bitcoin because it's pretty exciting times. Bitcoin is really starting to manifest this wave that we've seen coming for quite some time. I just want to kind of reiterate to you guys the whole trading strategy that we have here that we're using is based off of market cycles, market psychology, and just kind of predictable crowd behavior and predictable waves of fear and greed. Okay, so I want to bring up this image again and just kind of put this in your guys' head just to kind of remember, like, this is what's running in the background all the time in all time frames. But we're at a point in cryptocurrency right now where a lot of the higher time frames on the altcoins are showing a completion of this cycle. A lot of them are just about done their completion of the cycle and going to start to get new money go in and paint their disbelief rallies. And some of them are just starting to get down here. But the point I'm trying to make here is that this is all a cycle. Just like we've seen this move in Bitcoin coming for well over a couple months now, the moves that I'm seeing coming for altcoins, I'm seeing them early. Understanding Elliott wave theory and market psychology and the cycle of the market, you're going to see things early, and it's going to take patience. When I've been talking about this wave painting up towards 6 to 10,000 for quite some time, but it took a good month before it started to really paint itself and really show itself. And now it's showing itself to the retail traders. And you have to understand the ebb and the flow of the market. Okay, like when we see things through Elliott wave theory and understanding the psychology of the market, we're seeing things when they're like down here or on their way headed down for the potential next upside to come. Because in this area down in here, this is the zone with the least amount of risk. You'll have the greatest risk to reward ratio buying things in their depressive stages or buying things in their low tide. And when they get up around here, this is where the crowd comes in. This is where the retail traders come in. Every peak of the market, the retail traders come in, they chase it too high, it gets overextended, and the market goes through another cycle of down, and it'll either hold a retracement and the buyers will step back in, or it'll continue down if that cycle's over. But this simple like sine wave here of up and down, this ebb and flow, this roller coaster ride of the money coming in and going out, this is all just a big cycle of majority of loss. So that's why I started trading this way a few years back, because understanding that the markets are just a cycle of loss, you really have to understand where that loss is taking place to be able to pull winning trades out of it. And so when you combine that with just having discipline and patience and waiting for pretty predictable things to work out, it gives you a good strategy and a base foundation to work off of to kind of refine your skills psychologically and understand the part of the cycle that we're in and realize that there's really no fighting these emotions in the time. This cycle needs to play out, and you don't want to get caught up in it. So if you get into a trade at a certain time, you either wait it out, or you look to scale back in lower, or you just have to understand the cycle and not really give into the emotions of loss. A lot of this is really preparing yourself, or like a game of chess, like understanding the moves that the market or your opponent could make and being prepared for them, and just kind of like, and sometimes just waiting for them to play out. So what I'm seeing in Bitcoin, back here, since we were trading Bitcoin, I have seen this entire big wave come for Bitcoin. And now we're getting up into the thrill, up into this zone, the thrilling euphoria zone of Bitcoin. Okay. But we've seen it coming since all the way back here. Now what's going on in other coins and in cryptocurrency is that, like, when we look at this cycle for Bitcoin right here on the 3-day, there's no doubt in my mind that by the time that this all plays out, okay, we may not get a full 100% retrace because Bitcoin is pretty bullish and it's painting larger time frame grand Elliott waves from my studies and from my analysis that this is just the beginning for Bitcoin. But we're going to have huge swings, meaning that I really feel like by the time that Bitcoin's done all this, it's going to wind up painting something like this. This could come all the way up here, like I mentioned before, to 10,000. But wherever that goes, if it goes to 10,000, if it goes to 8,000, 7,500, wherever this winds up and we can say that the momentum is being lost, there's no doubt in my mind that it's going to paint the other side of the market over here. Okay, and that other side of the market is going to be a downtrend for several months. I mean, there's no getting around it. Like, once Bitcoin peaks out, there's going to be a lot of downtrend that people are going to fight. People are going to think, oh, let me buy this dip, and it's going to find a retracement of the entire move. Now, for my calculations, looking at this on a higher time frame, I really feel like if we do go to 10,000, from where this Elliott wave set started, meaning that for me it started where we pushed off of like this point right here where we just kind of broke out above the previous resistance. This line could be a little bit higher even, but I'm basically going from right about here. So if we do go to 10,000 area, a retracement back down into this type of a zone for a bullish market would still be likely, meaning that on the bigger picture of things, Bitcoin could go all the way to 10,000 and then have a few months of fighting the tide back down to about here. Okay, however that's going to play out. It could play out like this. It could play out deep. We don't know how this retracement's going to hold, how bullish or how bearish it's going to be. But we do know that after the 3 impulses up, meaning that after we get 3 large waves up, this being one, this being another one here, okay, and now we're making this next 3rd large wave up. Now don't get confused, like the Elliott wave cycle is actually 1 is impulsive, 2 is a retracement move, 3 is impulsive, 4 is a retracement wave, and 5 is also an impulsive wave. But in that, you're actually getting 1, 2, 3 impulsive waves up, or 3 drives up, or 3 bullish legs up, as some other traders will call it that don't consider Elliott wave theory. Elliott wave theory is playing in the background here. Only certain people will take the time to recognize it and to really try to figure it out. A lot of people will say, oh, that's just bullshit, it doesn't work. But for me, it works most of the time, so I'm always looking for that 3 drives up and the 2 pullbacks in there for the wave formation, and then a shift in the tide of the market into an ABC retracement. So what I'm getting at with this review is that Bitcoin is on a tear now, and we're starting to get to a point here where we're getting close to breaking a long-term channel resistance, so to say. Meaning that this one peaked out here, this one peaked out here, this one right here is pushing up into the resistance peak. If we push through here, it's going to get pretty parabolic, and that's what could push us in the next couple weeks even to our 10,000 goal. Now this leg is manifesting probably twice as fast at this point than I was expecting it to. And that's the kind of thing, like, we can see, understanding the cycles, we could say, okay, this leads to this leads to this should hold this area, and then it should continue on. The momentum is there for this to do it. The higher time frame strengths look strong. We can put all those pieces of the puzzle together, but how fast that happens, sometimes it remains to be seen. Like when we caught this dip down here to 3,000, we understood that this next wave is going to come, but I thought that there was going to be a little bit more retracement here, or a little bit more testing of this area. Okay, so but I did say that it probably shouldn't slow down either. So we're kind of in that area where we understand the bigger analysis, but we just kind of take it day by day and say, okay, shit, this thing is still running. It doesn't want to pull back yet. We're reaching levels of, if we break here, we're going to go higher. So the best way to trade this now is to just trail a stop behind it. And then the next time it looks weak, let this trailing stop get you out. And then if it looks strong again, on a sell down and it looks like it's going to find support, risk a entry again. Because if you always stay on top of pulling the capital out of the market when it's there, then you have room. You have room to play, and even room to be in a like meaning if we ride this thing all the way up, let's say it goes to 6,600 and we have a trailing stop of $150, $200. If it dumps back down to 58, then we got out 64, 64.50. Even if it dumps to 58 and we buy at 58 and it goes to 57, it doesn't matter if we got that entry wrong because we have enough profit to play with, meaning that we already extracted as much as we could out of the market here. So if our entry dips a little bit lower here, it's okay. We're just, we're not really losing money. We're giving a little bit of profit back temporarily on a paper loss, so to say, or the lower, like if you get into an entry here and it dips lower, it's going to be a temporary wash, basically, because if you're understanding that you're getting the retracement for the next move, then you have that room to play because you extracted the majority of the capital when it was there. If you don't do that and you sell when everybody else is panicking, then you don't really have the chance to get back in. You really need to rely on your entry to be exact. So as we get into this area, I'm just going to let the market do what it's going to do and trail the stop behind it and try to always, if the market looks weak, get out, buy back. If the market looks weak, get out and buy back, because I don't want to just assume that this thing is going to go all the way to 10,000 and lose the majority of the profit that I've collected from 52. So, you really want to keep that in mind, that we're getting to this part in the cycle up in here. Okay, up in here. So eventually this thing is going to reach a point where it gets exhausted and people will start, the tide will turn and people start to fight that. Now that could happen in a month, that could happen in 2 weeks. We don't really know. This is getting pretty aggressive here. Once it breaks this point, it could get pretty parabolic. So it's starting to, when I start looking at the momentum indicators, okay, like here our MACD, we could go through a couple more days and then we start to, wind back down. Okay, we start to paint back down. Here in our 3-day also, we're getting up here. It shows that we could, get up here, get a little exhausted, get an oscillation, and come back down here. But still continue because that weekly still looks very, very strong. Okay, understanding that the time frame beyond in the future, the higher time frame is still showing lots of potential strength. Okay, so the idea is to, when the market looks weak, get out and wait for it to panic and look to find support and get back in, understanding that there's probably another move to come until this weekly gets exhausted. Okay, so now thinking about how this is affecting all of cryptocurrency as a whole, we have to think about the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. Okay, and this is the way that I look at it, is that Bitcoin has broken the $100 billion mark now, and now has, let's see, 58% dominancy at this point in time. Yeah, it's about 58% dominancy. Now, what I see lining up in the charts and in the psychology and in the cycles of the market, because you have to understand, I'm not just looking at one market and one level of resistance or one momentum indicator. I'm kind of looking at all of cryptocurrency as a whole, and cycles and market structure and market psychology and predictable crowd behavior, and also where the money is going to flow. Okay, meaning that cryptocurrency price is determined by the money coming into it, like the money in the pool, how much money is in the pool divided by how many coins are in that pool. So we're getting to a point now where Bitcoin has a lot of the attention of the market, but at some point people are going to realize that they're chasing Bitcoin too far, or other investors are going to step in, and a lot of the money that's drawn into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is bound to flow into the other coins. There's no getting around that. People are going to diversify their portfolios. People are going to see that there's more of an opportunity to buy the lows in Ethereum or buy dash for another run or buy Litecoin because it's held above $50. There's going to be more investors coming into this. Once, as the spotlight is on Bitcoin and starts to show that support and that extreme volatility. Now, understanding that cryptocurrency price is market cap divided by available supply, you have to also understand that there's only a certain amount of these coins. And just because a coin looks really low today and looks a little bit weak today, if the cycle is painting itself for it to be where it's in the lower trenches of its cycle, if a coin is down here but it's still holding on to good market price, it's only a matter of time before more money comes in and starts to push that up again. Now, if we get a huge rush of money coming in, like a fear of missing out, where Bitcoin is really starting to paint that the beginnings of the mass adoption bubble, which I'll show you in a second, what I see coming for Bitcoin, that money is going to spill into the other coins. And we're going to have situations where we might even run into liquidity spikes, meaning that if it starts to look safer and safer for these people that have large portfolios to come into cryptocurrency, if they want to get a large share of cryptocurrency, if the fear of missing out is right in the market and there's only a certain amount of coins in the books, there's not that much. Like if I wanted to tell 15 people that I knew that had $1 million to come in and buy cryptocurrency right now, the market couldn't handle $15 million of buys on any of these markets for liquidity. So the point I'm trying to make is as the crowd comes, it's like a ticking time bomb. There's only so much time that's going to pass where these coins are in their lower trench before they explode again. And cryptocurrency is setting itself up for that right now. Like when I look at this cycle and understanding the psychology of the market, and I look through the charts on the higher time frame for a lot of these altcoins, a lot of them are either in their right here in their, like in this phase here, or in the anger phase, or in the depression phase. Like people are either like, get me completely out of the market right now, where they just, if you have $10 in the market, you'll get out with 50 cents just because you're so pissed off at the market. Okay, the market will go from panic to capitulation to anger to depression, and then it will come back out in disbelief. This is a cycle that will repeat itself over and over again. And that's because the majority of people don't understand how to trade. They're trading from an emotional standpoint where they usually will chase the price and get into a trade at the wrong time. And then when the market turns against them, they'll hold it for too long and not cut their losses until they're just completely psychologically drained to just say, shit, just get me the hell out of this market. And then they'll be mad at the market and mad at, everybody. Even, some people will be mad at me, people will be mad at themselves, people will be mad at the news, that made them think that crypto was a good investment. It's just a cycle. Because the reality is that the people who have the money to invest in these markets, they have the ability to basically scale into a trade and look at a temporary paper loss, because there's even for me, like I've come to the point where I have so much money in the market where if I'm looking at a paper loss for a minute over in this area and I didn't get out of the market, it just makes more sense to me to just be like, all right, well, I'm just going to hold this thing, average down because I understand what's coming next, and then have a better average. There's not many people that have the psychological discipline and the mental discipline to look at a negative balance for a week and say, oh, okay, I'm looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. Most people will live in the moment and say, shit, I'm at a loss. Let me sell at a loss. Let me get out. Let me give into that fear and then give into that panic. And that's what fuels the market. That's what fuels this entire cycle. So just training you guys on what's going on in the cycle is the beginning to understanding how the money's moving in the cycle and how the markets are really moving. So if you get into a trade that didn't go where you wanted it to go, but you see the potential upside within, a week or two when the cycle is coming back around again, you can take that as an opportunity to scale down, to average down, to take a position in the market for when the rainy days are over and the sun comes shining again. you have to understand that it's just a psychological cycle. And if you give in to the emotions here, you're going to lose. As simple as that. If you deal with the emotions when they're there, even if you make a bad trade and you just deal with the emotions and know, shit, I bought whatever coin in the panic stage and now it's in the depression stage, all right, everybody else is depressed. That's the cycle. That's the way things go. Let me buy more when everybody else is depressed, because eventually when the momentum is right, it's going to come back around again. And if you understand this cycle, you can play this cycle to your advantage. All right. So when I look at Bitcoin, we're reaching these critical mass levels up into this area. And that's going to bring a lot of retail trade, dumb money, people over leveraging themselves, and just a lot of loss on the way back down. Now, when you look at the 3-day charts in comparison to a lot of we'll just start rolling through here, these altcoins. Almost all of these coins are back down to key support levels and completely oversold on higher time frames and ready to turn. Okay, we can see it with even some of these new coins. With ARK, this one looks like it wants to find support. It could even fall down a little bit lower. It could fall down to these tops. It's just the cycle. You have to understand that when people panic and when people get angry and people are in depression, that is when you have the time for the maximum financial opportunity to come. And when it comes up here, this is the time to not buy more. It's so hard, to train your own mind on the emotions. I know it's hard. It takes a while, but you really have to think the opposite of the herd. And when everybody else is coming in and screaming, yes, Bitcoin's great, there's so much money to be made in Bitcoin, everybody's making money, everybody's getting rich on Bitcoin, you have to really think about that. That's the time that you really start to say, okay, well, maybe I should start taking profit. Maybe I should put my stop loss in there. Maybe I should protect this capital, because the markets don't just let everybody walk away with money. It's a cycle of continual loss and up and down, ebb and flow. But when we look at these markets and we look at them in relationship to support levels and momentum, they're all within the point where they're going to turn as soon as they get a chance. Okay? Let's look at all these. I mean, I talked about this one before. I wouldn't have guessed the bottom on this one, and it did make a lower low. Okay? But eventually, these coins are going to find support. This one, there's no reference of where the bottom is on this, so you would really have to let it find its bottom and create some sort of an impulsive action that you can react to, because you don't want to really guess the bottoms in some of these. Bitcoin Cash. I mean, this thing's just basically a ticking time bomb. It's done a complete cycle here, and it's just starting to trend up a little bit, 3 days strong. This holds this zone for long enough, and Bitcoin finds the littlest opportunity to sell down in a panic wave, we're going to see a lot of the money start to flow over. And even if Bitcoin the money that comes into Bitcoin and into crypto, it's going to overflow. And these coins are very primed and setting themselves up to get out of this stage, okay? To get out of this stage down here, to get out of this lower area that we're in. A lot of people look at this time in crypto and say, oh, this sucks. All these coins are low, and maybe some of the altcoins I'm holding at a loss. And you have to understand, this is all part of the cycle, guys. When cryptocurrency, when the altcoin bull run happens again, everybody's going to look back at this time and say, shit, why didn't I buy them? Why was I crying about, the price going from, 330 to 315? It's just, you have to understand that we're trading in zones for the next outcome to come. Okay, so this is a bigger, higher time frame move. I'm collecting Bitcoin Cash because this is the way I look at it. I had a certain amount of dollars on the exchange. I put a majority of them into Bitcoin at 5,200, but I didn't get filled at 5,000. So I'm not going to chase the price on Bitcoin. What I'll do is I'll hold those dollars and I'll look to scale into some of these other altcoins while they're in their lower area, while they're in this lower trail here of USD value. Okay, while they're in this phase here, I'm going to scale into them with USD, understanding the bigger picture to come. And then I'll take a little bit of Bitcoin and trade the momentum of the bullish market on margin. So whatever I didn't get in here with spot prices, I'll make up with gains in margin or placement from these coins in a couple weeks. So the way that I trade, I'm always thinking ahead. Like I'm not thinking about, oh, in this moment. Damn, did that just jump up $10 right there? It did. This is not a live either, so nobody's FOMOing the price as I talk about this, and I'm not buying this shit either. But look, you can see someone just bought a shitload of Bitcoin Cash as I'm talking about this, because we're gonna start to see more and more of this happen. Okay, these are all of these coins that look like this right now in this area with 3-day stochastic RSI. They're a ticking time bomb. They really are, like, just ticking, tick, 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 ready to explode. So I'm just going to roll through here real quick. I don't want to keep it too long, but I just want to show you guys that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, we're making a lot of money off these Bitcoin moves, and we're getting placement for this next altcoin run to come. Because this is a perfect opportunity. When everybody's sad and depressed and, oh, my altcoins suck, they're not going anywhere, and, oh, just everybody's depressed about the altcoin market. I'll refer back to the cycle, guys. When people are angry and depressed about their coins, buy them. Buy them at the support zones, at the lower, like when the momentum is at its lowest, because it's going to come around again. Okay? It's going to come around again. So let's look through here now and just kind of go back to the 3-day chart. And I just want to show you these cycles. Okay? All right, here we're on Bitcoin Cash. Let's just roll through. Some of these coins are irrelevant, but I'm just going to show them anyway, because some of these coins have zero volume on Bittrex. I'm not even trading on Poloniex anymore, honestly, but I just want to show you all these coins, because if they're on the list, it was a coin that we played at some point in time. A lot of these won't have the volume for our group to enter, but I really just want to show you the analysis and the cycle over and over again. Okay, so you guys can make your own decisions on, if you only have $100 or $50 to put in the market, it doesn't matter if you're playing a low volume market. But for guys that want to put 20 Bitcoins into the market, you wouldn't be looking at some of these markets. So if I'm rolling through these charts and you guys see the opportunity, consult the daily volume. Like don't become the whale unless you're willing to be the whale and look at a negative balance, 2 days after you take your placement. Because when you see markets that have higher volume and do 100% retrace, most of the time that is a whale entering that doesn't give a shit. They're just saying, yo, let me just fucking buy 20 Bitcoins of this right now and wait a week. And and what happens, the reason it does 100% retrace is because the liquidity isn't there for them to all get filled at that lower number. So they'll just say, fuck it, I'll buy it to a certain point, and then I'll stop, and then I'll back off and let the market do what it's going to do. And then when it gets down in this area, I'll buy some more. So you have to really think about everything. I mean, it's taken me a while to put all of this pieces of the puzzle together, but I'm really trying my hardest to share this with you guys, because there's a lot of potential to gain by just understanding the mechanics of these markets. Okay, same thing here. Cycle right back down to where it started. Possible. I mean, looks like it did a. Hold on a second. We're on there the wrong way. Right here. There we go. 88% zone. Okay, we're right back down to key support levels, right in this area. So this is basically just hanging out in the zone, waiting for, everybody here, they're panicking, they're getting depressed and angry in this zone, and eventually it's going to turn around. The 3 days starting to turn, it's getting strong. These coins are presenting themselves with opportunities to spike up again. And I also just want to point out that a lot of these coins that are doing something right now, when we look at Bittrex, like look, right now Solar Coin is up 112%. Okay, there's a lot of these coins that are just popping off right now and doing large expansive moves. It's just people that are pushing. These are all like pump and dumps at this point in time, because there's really no technical analysis that's leading up to say, oh, this one looks like it's going to move today. Like, let's look at Solar. Okay, the only thing that was showing for Solar was that the 3-day was here. Okay, and that volume went in a little bit before here. Now this is the only, this chart itself right here is rather ugly. It's a lot of chop in the market cycle. So these aren't ones that I really like to look at, because I really like to look at the coins that have a really nicely painted market cycle where you can kind of say, hey, here's the resistance, here's the support, the Fibonacci levels line up. They look a lot cleaner. The charts will look cleaner than this. This is not a very clean looking chart. There's a lot of spikes, and this is not one that I would be looking at to play. But in AfterSight, you start to say, well, what are the indications that this coin was going to pop off and go 100%? Not many. The only real indication is that right here, someone bought a shitload of this coin for some reason. So a whale probably bought a lot of it right here, let it come all the way back down 100% retrace, but now they're starting to put more money into it again because they see the opportunity. Like when traders are desperate and their coins aren't going anywhere, if you understand the psychology of the market, all you really have to do is just push a random coin out of nowhere, push it up and hold it up, and the crowd is going to chase it. Okay, that's just human psychology 101, crowd behavior. Like people, the majority of the traders that trade on these altcoin exchanges are not professional traders at all. The majority of these traders are gamblers, like bigger risk takers, and people who are more like betting on horse races, where they'll look at the markets and they'll say, which one's moving today? Let me put my money on that one. And that's kind of the mentality where people will chase the pump and look for that, but they won't understand where to get out of it technically. So, I'm just trying to show you here that there was really nothing leading up to technically to SolarCoin breaking out like this, other than seeing this volume go in, about a week ago. Oh, not even a week ago, like a month ago. Wow. More than that even. Yeah, 2 months ago. So other than seeing this volume go in 2 months ago and then waiting for a reaction to that volume. And there's a really good, perfect example. Like you see this type of volume go in here and a spike like this. This is someone that won a market placement that didn't have the liquidity to get it in this zone. So it spiked up to this zone. But now they've basically sat on that coin for 2 months. And now it looks like someone's putting some interest into it again to make it move. Okay, like these are all readable signs. But technically, there's really not much or fundamentally leading up to say, oh, this is the coin that's going to go from, where was it at? 3,600 all the way up to 8,100. You know what I mean? There's really nothing technically that's telling you that this thing is going to go 200%, other than the fact that it's at the bottom of the market cycle, the 3 days turning up, and it had Priya's volume go into it. Okay, so let's just go back and keep moving through this here. Okay, so 3 day cycles. This one looks like it could go down more. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Bitmark, ugly chart, all the way down to support. BitShares, all the way down to support right in this area. 3 day turning up. I mean, it's only a matter of time before this one gets some market interest and it wants to come up to this zone. I mean, all of these coins are painting opportunities of depression for holders, but opportunities of buying great, risk to reward ratio for the educated buyers, or or the educated traders that understand what's going on. So, same thing here, right back down to critical support levels, almost 100% retrace, 3 days turning up. I'm telling you guys, it's only a matter of time before cryptocurrency gets a whole nother wave of money coming in. Okay. Now these ones like this, I wouldn't guess the bottom on them. If they don't have a previous cycle to show you previous price point action for history, I would not guess the bottom on these ones. Okay. Some of these I'm just not really even interested in, but I just want to show you guys here. Even this one now looks like it has broken below the original support after the ICO and after the listing. So this is not looking good for holders of Civic. Like this one looks like it's going to sell. I don't know what in a case like this, knowing that this was an ICO, I would be referring back to find out what the original listing price was and see how much fear and panic we're going to get out of this still. Okay, but I don't have that information on hand right here. Once we get the ICO tab on the site, we'll have a point of reference as far as like what these ICOs were originally offered for and stuff like that. Let's keep moving here. Dash, same thing. I mean, look at all these wicks. This is a critically support area right here for Dash. 3-day on the oversold area here. I wouldn't be surprised if Dash sells down and bounces and continues on. I mean, these coins are only going to sell down so much until the market steps back in. Okay, Decred right back down these critical support levels. This is actually, I would move this down to here. See if we can't get a little bit lower on it. 3-day here. I would say that this one is just about here in this panic stage here. We haven't really gotten angry yet and starting to get depressive. So just kind of keep that in reference and as to how the chart looks. Okay, it looks like we're getting there, but it still looks like it needs to come out and go sideways a little bit. All right, Digibyte, same thing. This is right down to the zone. This one has gone through it all, and I feel like maybe another week, couple weeks here max of sideways action, and then it's going to take off again. Let's check out the weekly. Yeah, the weekly turn. So we got to get another oscillation here in the weekly, get some more fear and panic, and then another oscillation up. But these are coins that I'm not trying to play these coins until they show themselves. I really want to educate you guys on how to just spot these cycles, because what we're observing here, I mean, this is the cheat sheet for all markets, honestly. Like this was not made for crypto. There's another one that somebody made for crypto where it's all based on fear of missing out and the price just keeps going up. And that's kind of funny because it does relate to certain situations in the bull market, but this is really what's going on in the market over and over and over again. And in stocks, in Forex and commodities, this is what happens because the majority of people make emotional-based decisions when they're trading. It's kind of funny, like money is a very important thing in a lot of people's lives, but a lot of people will not treat money with the importance and respect and discipline of a decision that they should, because people are gamblers, and risk takers by nature. So understanding this cycle here is really the key. It really is the key, guys. Okay, and we're seeing this in cryptocurrency more. Like I mentioned before, because of my study in cryptocurrency and in trading in general in the financial markets has shown me that cryptocurrency paints Elliott waves and paints these market cycles more beautifully than a lot of other markets because of limited supply and more dumb money. Meaning that this is already a cycle of loss. And this is a chart and a philosophy that was made before cryptocurrency. But now we're seeing this play out more and more in cryptocurrency because the coins have limited supply, and the barrier to entry is low. There's no real, it's getting a little bit higher where now you got to verify yourself and take a selfie with your photo and all that. Like, it's not just sign up with an email, but it's still a low barrier to entry. It's not a traditional financial market where you have institutions making decisions and central banks and algorithms running and stuff like that. It's a different kind of a market. So we're really seeing it's a peer-to-peer based trading market where there's more individual traders that don't know what they're doing. So we're seeing this paint out more and more because the people will give in to the emotions a lot easier. So same thing here, Digibyte. Let's go back to the 3-day here. 3-day is really my my indication of like the cycle really ending, continuing on. Data bits. Same thing here. I would be looking at what the ICO price is because this thing just keeps going and going and going down. And of course, people are just going to hold on because the fundamentals are great. The game. But I don't trade like that, guys. Dollar. Edge. Edgeless. Okay. Looks like it wants to do the 100%. Something like this, I would stay out of it because it's at the 100% mark. There's no guarantee it's not going to break lower, but I would watch it. Like you can see where we're at. We're at the point where it's oversold, higher time frame. It wants to get some sort of a reset. We're down to where it started from. These are complete emotional cycles completing. So stuff like this, the ones that come back down to their 100% mark, I would wait because most of the time I'm waiting for something like this. Boom, money to go in, and us to see that volume. And then we look for the retracement of that. And then we try to get that next move and the next move and the next move for the new cycle to come. I would wait for for ICO coins that are below their support levels and coins that like this that have done 100% retrace and look like they're about to crack support levels. Those are ones you want to wait for the first sign of the trend to change. You don't want to be just looking and guessing on, okay, yeah, we made 100% retrace. We're changing the tide. You don't want to guess that. This is kind of like a guideline, because people will panic beyond the depression state, especially with ICOs. Because people will hold on to them for so long and feel like it's great fundamentally, and then when it gets back down to their ICO price, they start to panic. I closed my EOS and IOTA trades because I'm moving my coins off of slowly moving my coins off of Bitfinex. So I mentioned that. Unfortunately, like, these markets do look like they're ready to get some play. Once I figure out my exchange situation with verifying and stuff, I'm going to try to verify through Costa Rican channels, so I don't have to do the whole U.S. verification. So I'm going to be getting back into these markets at some point. But unfortunately, I had to close these trades. This one just about a break-even, IOTA with a slight loss. Okay, let's keep moving here. Okay. Ethereum Classic, here we go. Full revolution. We're getting there. Just about getting there. Back onto this area. Like, I'm really showing you guys this on all these markets because I really want to, like, brand this into your mind that this is all just an emotional cycle. Once you understand this, like, yeah, the markets might have been choppy the last month, but I can guarantee you, out of, like, the majority of the people that are trading the markets, we're pulling more money out of these markets than most people because we're understanding this cycle. And just showing you guys this is really the key. All right. Sometimes it paints nicely, sometimes it paints ugly, but you can still see. I mean, even here, I still see with Ethereum Classic. Look, higher time frame, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, back down to test 1, and then expansive 5. After that, what did the market do? Came back up, made another move up right here, this point right here. Let's get rid of this one. Point right here, what would that be? Right here, after 5 waves up, this point right here, what would that be? If you guys that are screaming complacency right now are winners, because that's exactly what that is, complacency, right here. The market makes its moves up, and then it's the next rally where everybody thinks that we just need to cool off a little bit, and then we're all going to be rich, and it gets complacent, okay? Here it is, complacency, okay? Now, Bitcoin is going to reach complacency too. Like, after it makes its peaks up, if you don't sell the peak, don't worry. There's always going to be that next fake run up where you'll get almost the same amount out of the market that you could have, but it'll show the signs of getting complacent and actually losing the momentum. Let's keep moving here. Classic, 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 classic. Ethereum Bitcoin itself looks like, well, that's not the best one to look at on Bitfinex. Let's go up to Poloniex. Okay. This one does look like it could come down to test this area. It really does. The Bitcoin pair. Okay, because it looks like it's strong enough to not go below here, but weak enough to panic down and then to find the support there, especially since the 3 days already, at that point. Okay, so against Bitcoin, Ethereum looks like it could panic out a little bit more. Against the dollar, though, Ethereum is painting a very, I'm going to use Bitfinex's chart here. Ethereum is painting a very large ascending triangle, meaning that I'm looking at Ethereum as a possibility here where Ethereum could do 2 things. It's either going to sell right back down to this zone here, into here, okay, and find support and have enough support here on this 3-day level to continue on after a flash down to here and find support and continue on. But you can see what's going on here. It's painting a very large ascension pattern here. At some point, Ethereum is going to break this ascension pattern and have probably double in price. So I'm kind of looking at Ethereum for what's Ethereum going to be at next month, in a sense. Like where I'm building a position in Ethereum for the future, for when it comes out of this zone, because it's kind of like when I started building my Bitcoin position, when I saw Bitcoin, at $300, $400, like, and I understood that we're going to keep going up. It's kind of the same thing here with Ethereum. Like Ethereum is choppy right now, but at some point Ethereum is going to turn here. And there's a lot of indication that shows that it could turn right here after it tests 270 again. It could fall down lower to the lower part of this triangle into this area. And if that happens, I will probably scale in more in this area, or maybe maybe trade a little bit of it on margin to make up for the difference on the percent decrease, just because I understand that where this thing is most likely going to go, and I'm trying to scale into a trade and have a holding in Ethereum for when Ethereum, does what I feel like is inevitable, which would be this. Maybe come down to here, like this, maybe flash down to here, but then after that, this thing is going to pull. It's going to pull out of this. Usually things don't hold in a pattern like this of bullish ascension for 200 plus days to just fall apart. So I really am pretty still strongly bullish on Ethereum for the longer picture, because think about it. This market cap is going to come into Bitcoin. Where's it going to go? After Bitcoin starts to lose after Bitcoin peaks out on its dominancy, the money's going to run back into altcoins. Where's the money going to run? It's going to run into the top altcoins. And so I feel like the smarter institutional investors are using this downward cycle time, like this time that Ethereum is in this downward trial here, that the smarter institutional investors are using this. Sorry, my computer cut out there. But yeah, I feel like the institutional investors are using this time to collect Ethereum as it's in this bullish ascension pattern, and it's in its lower part of the trial here. Okay, so let's just keep moving here on the 3-day level. I'm just going to show you guys a couple other things here. Same thing here, expanse. You guys should do this too, like go through all of these markets, that any coin that you guys have a question about or interest about or are thinking about, pull it up on the 3-day level, look at where it is in relationship to where it broke out and where the 3-day momentum is. Okay, it will give you a really good indication of where it's at in the cycle. Okay, same thing, Factom, all the way back down. Folding coin, all the way back down. Florin, looks like somebody tried to pop it off here a little bit early. This looks like it would probably bleed down a little bit more. That doesn't look like enough volume to convince me. Fun, this one's good to get out on the bounce like I suggested. And this is an example of like when a trade breaks down from the zone and then you're looking to get out of it, don't get caught in the next hype that, you know what I mean? Like this was a lot of hype and a lot of new listing on different exchanges and a lot of hype that went into this right here, and it cashed us out at basically a break even right there. But if you fed into the hype, you wound up with even more of a losing trade. You just really have to realize if the analysis didn't work, you want to get out of the trade and stay out of the trade. Okay, game all the way back. Same thing. I mean, people are going to look back at these last couple, basically in this last month here. I'd say we got maybe like 2 more weeks max of this downward cycle in this area. And then people are going to start looking back on this time and saying, shit, I really wish I would have bought in that time and not been so depressed. It's just the way the cycle works. Let's see, Gnosis. Oh yeah, this one. No bottom in sight. GNT, this one popped off a little bit today with some volume, I think. I was on Bittrex. I don't have the chart up here for Poloniex, but look, same thing here. 3-day here. This is basically right back down to the zone where it broke out from, right here. So this is one to keep on your radar. ICN, this one is actually breaking below here. Let's take a look at this real quick. Yeah, I mean, it could pull the 100% retrace here from where it started. And now the 3-day is actually tried. It looks like the 3-day tried here and it was denied. So this looks like it's going to do another oscillation back down into this area. So this one's basically going to go back down to where it started, if not maybe a little bit lower. I don't trade over on this exchange, so I'm not too familiar with this coin as far as trading it. Influx, this looks like it could go lower. IOP, a lot of these are ugly charts. Like I mentioned, I got out of IOTA. KMD broke its trend, and now it's going for the full retrace back down into here. Okay, that one's got a little while to go. LBC, this is one that's probably going to move around the same time as Digibyte and Strat. They're a little bit further in their cycles ending here. Right back down here. 3-day looks like it's getting stronger. Let's check out the weekly. Yeah, weekly's on the floor here too. So it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time before new buyers step in and realize that these coins have good enough fundamentals to take them on a ride the first time, and enough chart history to show a complete cycle. And so let's see, this one went to here. So this next market cycle wave that comes out of here, it sounds crazy right now, but this does have the potential to get up to test these levels. Okay, so once this thing pulls out of here, don't be surprised if it gets on a huge tear and comes all the way up to here. Okay, let's keep moving. Legends room. Yeah, not too interested in that. Lisk, leaving the buy area a little bit here, but actually coming right back down to here. I feel pretty strongly that this one's going to find its support in here and not do a complete 100% retrace, because it's held here long enough that the momentum should be switching soon. So this is one that's worth looking at in this area. Maybe even a little bit lower to here. Right about there. Same thing though, once it reaches a critical support level and the momentum's there, it's going to turn. Litecoin. Same thing. We're holding trend with Litecoin. Litecoin's one that broke out and has been doing a good run here. If this holds on to its strength in this area, the 3 days up, it's going to continue on. Okay, Litecoin, I feel like as long as it holds on to $50, Litecoin has the potential to just reach 100. This here, Lunar, 100%. 100% retrace, 3-day on the floor. Anything that's below the original 100% retrace will probably wind up being a wick within the next couple days. MadeSafe coin, same thing. I mean, a lot of these charts, there's so much opportunity here for people who are patient enough to wait for the next cycle to come, honestly. Monaco, check this one out. 88% retrace in this area. Yeah, this one's, I would say, even down to this wick area in here. But after it finds its support, remember, all of these cycles are in this area right here. Okay, what's left after that is the new money coming in and the disbelief starting to be painted. Mona. Mona did a nice pop off, but it looks like it's just going to come right back down in this area. Metal. Unfortunately, with this one, we're talking another ICO. I don't know what the ICO price is, but man, this thing could easily fall back down here. Okay, especially because that 3-day looks like it tried. Now it's tilting down. Once that psychological 100 breaks, we're going to see ICO holders starting to panic. Honestly, I know a couple of you guys on the signals list are holding metal. I mean, hopefully you guys have understood the cycle so far and at least got out with a good return on your initial investment. Like up in this area was definitely a good return on your ICO investment, guys. So if you guys are holding it this low, it's it's that typical holder mentality where now you're feeling the panic and you're going to feel the anxiety and the depression. I'd say, give me it lower. Expect lower. Expect just the savage panic sellout of a lot of these coins. Music, Nav. Nav is starting on its journey. This one, well, let's not look at Polonius because we're not trading there. This one is basically hanging out in the buy zone. Could go a little bit lower to these tops right here. But that's what I was saying, the buy zone between 11 and 13, we're basically looking for this move right here to hold in this area, in this general area, and then pull out of it, because this right here would be to test these tops right there. And yeah, it's a cycle. We're getting the money out and new money's got to come in. So, we're looking to get the retrace on the lower time frame for these moves that look like they've started their journey on the 3-day. Meaning that this one looks like it found support here, did a nice move, volume going in, 3-day still strong. It's still trying to hold a retracement of that move. So the potential's there to keep painting up. Neo. Not so much yet, these guys. I would say down into here. I notice in these recordings that as I get about halfway through, the fans on my computer start to run, and you can hear that background noise. Sorry about that, guys. All right. No, it just keeps going down. 3-day strong on this one, though. Look at this. 3-day strong. This might be the slight momentum that this thing needed to turn around here. So I would keep an eye on this one, actually. This may have bottomed out. No full 100% retrace. Same thing here. Right back down. Actually, this one looks like it could go even a little bit more. To right about here. Okay. NXT, basically right about there as well. Right, these areas. NXT USD is still holding its, well, kind of still holding its trend. Let's see. Questionable in here. We'll have to see, but the 3-day does look strong. If anybody, not many people trade this thing against the dollar, but against the dollar, it is holding strength better than against Bitcoin. Okay, full retracement of this impulsive move. 3-day. I would say this thing could even come down a little bit lower into this area. OMG, even selling lower. Okay, so where does it want to go? This Bittrex down here. Now that it's broken there, I will be looking even lower. Even though the 3-day's on the floor, any flash down into that area would be a good buy, especially since this thing is, yeah, this is what I was saying before against the dollar. Man, anything down here, $5 and under, I will be buying this in this zone below that 61% retrace. Pay right back down. So it wants to go a little bit lower. This is basically in the buy zone area here, but let's wait for it to do what it's going to do. But you can see, you can see on the higher time frame what's going on here and what we can expect in the next couple weeks. Pivx, this one's holding on for now, but this looks like it could probably come back down to about here. there. Park Bite. No, looks like it tried, failed. Ptoy going even lower. Patientory. Yeah, I would stay out of that one. Quantum Resistance Ledger. 3 days pretty strong. Looks like it found its support here. It looks like it's moving up. This one's worth a look at on the lower time frame since the 3 days so strong, but it definitely is all based around volume. QTUM, this one did a pretty savage move. Got everybody to chase the FOMO, and then it sold right back down because the cycle wasn't complete yet. 3 day here. Yeah, this one looks like it could go a little bit lower. Dollar pair looks strong. So, yeah, I wouldn't be trading this against the dollar just yet either. Red coin, basically, all the way back down, full cycle. For you guys that are new to trading, just remember, man, these cycles are going to repeat over and over again. And on some of these older coins, you can look. We had a cycle like this in 2014, and then we had another cycle this past spring. And once the money comes back in, we'll get another cycle. It's just rinse and repeat. A lot of these coins are just really rinse and repeat. That's why I said a long time ago, like a lot of these, especially my How Not to Get Wrecked video, a lot of these coins, man, is even as good as some of the technology may be, they are just markets to trade to make more Bitcoin. If you don't understand that, you're going to be on the wrong side of the trade and holding on too long for a fundamental or emotional factor. This looks like it's going to come all the way down to here before this actually turns over. So I would expect 100% retrace on rise. SafeX. Looks like it might be trying in this area. Looks like it might have found its bottom right there. Siacoin, let's look on Poloniex. Just because of the chart history here, we can see that we had this cycle here, then this cycle here, 100% retrace. So this thing is in the zone, in the buy zone again, even down to here for the next round of money that's going to come into this thing. StoreJoin. Yep, same thing, back down to this zone. There's not that many altcoins to really play right now, guys. There's like, you have to realize sometimes the best trade is no trade. I mean, we're trading Bitcoin pretty good right now. But I want to run through these markets for you and show you just where we're at in the cycle, and that it's not going to be too much longer before that cycle completes and we start new cycles. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, but you just have to understand the cycle, and when everybody else is feeling depressive and angry, that it's probably painting a good opportunity in the market for buying. Stratum Polo right back down to my zone. Let's see, Stratum Polo. Yeah, I guess I've been looking at Polo's chart. But here, yeah, right back down to the zone, 88%. And this one's been oversold on the 3-day for a while, so I would expect Strat to actually pop out of here. I had said before, I think anything under 50,000 is actually a buy in Aftersight. You know, if we get down into this area here, I would buy it basically between 35, between where it is now down to 35, right about here, and be looking at it as a position for the next influx of money. Stellar, basically same thing, you know, as what's going on with some of these coins that are already making their first initial move here. We can see that, okay, we saw the money go in here, so we were looking in this area. We rode it from basically 350 to 700, caught the 100% move. We were looking to get back in between 4 and 500, basically about 450 to 6. Basically, this was the original buy zone I was looking for, but things sold down and panicked a little bit more. But you can see what happened. It's finding its support. 6 hours is turning. It's probably going to get another push out of here because it's started. It's been sparked on like the 3-day level, so we should start to look for opportunity to trade it on the lower time frame. Okay. SIS. I think it could come down and test this spike right here, so I wouldn't buy it just yet. Trig token, same thing. I think it could come just a little bit lower. Ubik. It's in the zone. This one's in the zone. It's basically right in there. Right in here. Getting there. Don't know what happened to Uno there. Vertcoin. Okay. Let's talk about Vert because Vert is showing the signs of continuation here, and the 3 days pretty strong. Now we missed the initial push off here with this volume that went in, so this is more like I'm not really trading it because I feel like I'm chasing it, but there's probably going to be an opportunity for this thing once it breaks this level to do another wave up and then come down and test this level. So we could see something like this happen now and then come back down. So I wouldn't buy this right now. I would wait for it to break out and then wait for it to come back and see if it's not going to hold a test of this price point. Okay, it's a pretty important price point. It's breaking, so I want to make sure that it breaks that and kind of test it. So if it's going to break this high right here and go a little bit higher, it's most likely going to continue and test it. We have price history here, in the zone here, back here. But there's potential for this thing to go higher. So what I would like to see, I would like to see it break this point, come back down, test it, and then once it tests it, then we'll look for it. Okay, but it has a lot of potential upside. You can see on the 3-day level that this thing is just one of those coins that just fell out of the sky and has another potential price action point. That could go above 125,000. So we don't want to chase it at this point. We understand where it's at in the cycle. Understand it could probably break this high and come back down and test that point. And when it tests that point and shows support, then we feel like, okay, it's going to be supportive there. I feel a little bit more comfortable getting into a trade and buying it. Because if we buy it now, it could go up higher, break the high, and then come back down and not be supported there. So we really want to make sure that this point right here, that this turquoise line, after it breaks, that becomes support. If that becomes support, then it's a whole new trade. It starts to open the door to these higher price levels. Let's just continue here. Waves. Getting there. Getting there. Getting there. Into the zone. Wings. Probably will come down for the full 100% retrace. Silver, gold. XBC, Bitcoin Plus. I never really trade Bitcoin Plus. I just had it here from when this pump happened here. XBT, XCP counterparty. Yeah, all these are basically doing the same exact thing, guys. Same exact thing. There's a lot of people buying bottoms these days. A lot of people buying bottoms. Well, this one broke below. So this one, this is going to be one that, from what I understand, this is a pretty good coin fundamentally. So anything that's really below in this zone, we don't know how far this thing's going to go. I mean, it could drop 50% from where it's at now and hit 2,000. But the point I'm trying to make is that when it's oversold like this and has good enough fundamentals to have taken it on a pretty good ride before, about 300% or so, it's only going to be a matter of time before people just panic out and new buyers step in, and the innovation in the technology continues, and we see another round out of this. So I wouldn't buy this now, but this is one that it's so far underneath of where it came from that soon enough it's going to present opportunity, especially once this 3-day starts to get all of the selling out. Let's just keep moving. Same thing, XEM. I actually think XEM could go a little lower. That 3 days been oversold for a while here, but it's starting to turn here, but it doesn't seem like the 78.6 really wants to be the retracement point. I would look for the typical retracement a little bit lower here. But then expect that this thing, once it hits, it's been so oversold here for a while. This thing sells down here to the 88%, 2,000, 2,500. It'll probably get a very strong bounce, and that would be the spark of momentum to start a new market cycle for this, because this one gets a lot of trade in Asia. XLM, same thing, looking at Stellar. XMR, coming back down, 88%. 3-day oversold. I would stay out of this until I see it turn. Until I see it turn. Some USD, a little bit stronger. XRP, got out of that one on the whatever balance it gave me. I think it could go lower. I think XRP is going to go all the way, 88%, maybe even 100. Yeah, it's getting down to that 88% mark. So if you want to get into Ripple, I would look for it below there. Okay, for me, I don't really even like Ripple. I like to like these coins that get too much hype. I'll wait for them to turn around, show trend, and the momentum to be there for the trade. But if I don't see the momentum, I'm going to get out of the trade. Verge, this looks like it could go lower. Z Classic, someone's putting money into this thing again. We talked about this back here in this volume spike, and now even more money's going into it. It's kind of interesting to see what happens with this. Total shitcoin here, but it's interesting to see this volume. Keep your eye on it. Definitely just keep your eye on it. Zcash could go a little bit lower. I think the Zcash will find support though, right about there. Right about 286, 288 against the dollar. We're getting there. We're getting there against the dollar. Let's see. I think we could come down a little bit more. Anything under 200 on Zcash will probably not last too long. Zen. Look at this one. Boom, popped off. Nice momentum is there to play this on the lower time frames. Here, let's track it out. Nice buy area. Looks like it's trying to get another wave out of here, but it will probably find support here in this area and then continue on. The 3-day strong, but I would be watching this hourly for the entry because it might drop lower. This might give something like this and then come down to actually here. So the only place I would really buy this coin in this market would probably be down here, a little bit lower. Get a whole little sell out below the cloud, the reset here, and then for the next move, because it seems like most of these coins, even with the 3-day strong and growing, they do a 88% retrace, maybe even 100% retrace, and then they go. This did have some news that sparked this, and it seems like it wants to continue on, but I'm not convinced just yet. I'd almost wait for it a little bit lower. A little bit lower. And let's keep moving here. Ox, no, I mean, it's reaching the bottom here, but I would also see what the ICO price was in comparison. And shares, I'm sorry, Aragon. No, not interested. XCM, we just talked about that. Strat, we just talked about that, but now with the Bittrex chart, yeah, basically same story. And Solarcoin, like I mentioned, really not too much TA that leads you up to something like this happening. You know, just to kind of point that out. Sometimes when these coins just randomly go, they start to get pushed, and then people will just chase them because they're looking for something to play, and people chase the pump. And that's what I see going on here with Solarcoin and a lot of these coins that have gone up lately on Bittrex, because there's really not many coins moving off of technicals or fundamentals. So if people just push something up enough, people will chase it. It's just the way it works. All right, guys, keep stacking it. I will try to come up with another signal here in the next couple of days. But like I said, there's not too much that you really want to get into with the altcoins just yet. They're almost there. I feel like Bitcoin's going to give us significant gains here still. And we'll just be tracking the price with Bitcoin over the next couple of days and make sure that we get the most out of it. All right, guys, cheers.